Hello, this is Peter 4101. I am more or less doing this video as a spiritual preference and perceptions. Now, I guess you would be wondering, why am I wearing a mask? Well, this is something that I guess you could pertain to two ways of things. One being that I prefer to keep my identity at least partially hidden, if not closed off to a certain number of people. I am a very, 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 very highly valued target to some, and, well, prized trophy to others. Another explanation is that I do not relate to myself in a general sense. You'll see later after I've explained things. As you can see, a bit of my backstory is a little bit heavy, so to speak. Nonetheless, I would like to get started on one thing specifically. The astral plane is where I started out specifically. However, it is not a place from which I was, well, originally fond of, per se. The Reaper that brought me to the sanctuary in the first place was more or less, how should I put it? Well, I guess you could say strange would be the first perception I had of him. Nonetheless, without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. I was a warrior, of course. That's where I started out, is this life. But my past life, that's something completely different. But the astral, when it comes to that, without being able to have a perception of things, without seeing things as they are, a sense. However, the way that I perceived the astral planes at first eventually led to a wider spectrum of being able to see, the less ability and, being able to see the ones that haven't been able to create or find a place of their own. The sanctuary, in many ways, in the astral plane, as well as in other places, for whoever or whatever wishes to go there, is a place of learning and transition as for anything. The astral plane is much to be desired of, let's just say, a danger zone for many. I learned that a little bit too quickly, unfortunately. However, the way that each of these, I guess you could say, spirits, so to speak, isn't exactly what I have in mind as friendly or unfriendly, depending on which things you see or what you do. That's all depending on what you wish to be or what you wish to ignore, I guess. But that's just my perception of things. How the astral plane actually works, I learned later down the line, though, actually means a lot more than just, say, a lost human soul goes there and they don't know where to go. Well, it's the job of spirit workers or reapers, forbid them from ever doing such things, to bring them back to the sanctuary for specific judgments or a how should I put this? It's a very delicate matter, obviously. Nonetheless, if they are lost or they have done something wrong to harm a living being, they are judged accordingly. I did nothing of the sort, obviously. But I was brought to the sanctuary by a Reaper nonetheless. I was considered a bit of a accident. I don't know why I was put into existence at that time. However, it still is. Later on down the line, I obviously started doing things along the lines of, okay, say, forget the astral planes, I need to go somewhere else. I need to be able to branch out, obviously. My achievement of my light body, I guess would be the appropriate term, would be the better lifestyle that I would have absolutely preferred. I still do. However, the way that this is done is not obvious. Sometimes it takes a little bit of feeling around in the dark until you actually find the light. Other times, some people are able to teach you or show you something that at least puts you on the right path towards your light body. I was lucky enough to find someone that could do that. However, it barred many things. I still don't know why I did it, but I became a warrior nonetheless. I guess I felt somewhat insecure, and yet I wanted to become something a little bit more powerful that I could protect myself should need arise. But even then, that's not exactly the best appropriate action, now is it? After a little bit of gallivanting around and playing hero, so to speak, I eventually settled down. How I met my wife, that's a different story completely, but nonetheless, after a little while, we settled down. We went to her world. After a while, that things didn't sort themselves out. So, we want to try a fresh start to another planet called Terra. And, well, things worked out for the better, nonetheless. But over time, it escalated into something much more than just a family relationship. In a way, she was the last of her kind, to say the least. Persecuted by other beings and forced to near extinction. She was one of the last, and told that if she were to ever, force herself from existence by her own will, that she would be destroying her own kind by doing so. So, yes, that in itself is a fate worse than death itself, or at least an awe, since a fate worse than having to continue in existence without being able to know what your kind is, what your past was. But in a way, that you are the only thing that is keeping that alive. Heritage does have its benefits and its doubts. The race that she is and I am, well, in a way, I figured, well, why not be Evian at one point? certain point during my heroic deeds, so to speak, I eventually became rather how should I say, malformed, beaten, battered, and otherwise rather ill worse for the wear. I had to eventually change my form as a result, and partially change my race as per need be. How that was done, I will not get into that, as that would be changing the topic specifically. However, I do see that it is very necessary to explain what I am. As you can see, the mask that I wear is a phoenix. Why would I not wear such a mask anyways? Because, you see, in a way, I am half human. My human body, as it is, and I am half phoenix. Though that is a little bit debatable, to say the least. My own wife seems to think that it's fairly humorous, but nonetheless, she goes along with it because, well, we have our love for each other. We are, I jokingly say, twin flame because of what we've both been through and what she's gone through versus what my own kind, my own heritage has gone through. In a way, we both have a similar experience. That is why our hearts mingle so much. Not only that, but we balance each other out incredibly well. As for male-female in light body, I do not have a specific gender. When it comes to a light body, no one specifically has a dead set gender. Not unless they wish it to be. However, I feel that having both male and female. Apologies for that. Camera ran out. The camera battery runs out and cuts me off in mid-sentence. Anyways, as I was saying, male and female gender is basically my preference. Seeing as I chose to be a phoenix, many alterations were made during that, but as far as light body go, it was my choice, of course. I had many ways and many options placed before me, but the first thing that came to mind was being a phoenix, being able to fly, being able to, if not just lose one portion of you. I lost my left arm, obviously, but nonetheless, to be able to regenerate regardless of what kind of injury you had. That was something to me that was quite important to me at the time. That eventually led to certain other things happening. obviously. My gender also allowed me a wider variety to, well, to say the least, be able to choose a mate regardless. Yes, I do say that quite literally, but it's something that has been, if not not misplaced, obviously. It was a better choice. I do have to say that. It was a better choice. Because without a specific set of being able to see things both ways, I didn't think that being male-female gender would be any different from, say, having divine masculine and divine feminine. I didn't think that too much. Of course, that's something for another video. Now, this may be something that I have been wanting to do for a while. Yes, I had my place as an info broker for some time now, spreading information around that otherwise nobody would want to do. But nonetheless, I think it is time I took my place elsewhere. I did enjoy my time as an info broker, and I sincerely apologize if I've caused any inconvenience to anyone by changing over to this so suddenly. But I thought it over, and if I should choose, I will keep to a specific set of information that I have gathered over the years that will continue to be useful far, far into the future. I will keep it up on my channel and, well, maybe change things a little more. Political and spirituality. Two of the most controversial things to ever be put up on the internet. Or as I would call the human collective. If not for other things. At the moment, I feel that I'm a little more grounded in what I wish to do. That is my own preference, obviously. Still, my intents versus my dreams of the future, and so on, I'll cover this next section. My intent when I came back was to help my kind, obviously. But as things started to change, that changed with it. I didn't think too much of it, but the problems that humankind faces are far, far greater than what is originally so. Of course, it does revolve around some of the dreams that I've had over the years. A dream to be able to keep humankind stable, fertile, and continue to allow it to grow so that it may be able to reach the stars one day. And even farther. Source. I've had many experiences with Source over the years. I guess I don't really have much I could say on this specific topic, but nonetheless, the Source has allowed many on their own path. Some would call it a way of life. Others would call it God. Others would call it something else. I do not worship Source, not by any regard. I see him as, well, as our source of creation. Without Source, you wouldn't exist. No proof or anything else could be said about this. This is plainly spiritual, obviously. But to anyone who has listened this far, I congratulate you at least. It isn't without regret or much undue justification that some would turn away. That is part of human free will, obviously. Source created this dimension specifically as one and only place for souls to heal, create, destroy, or do whatever else it is that otherwise could not be experienced elsewhere. What do I see for this? Entirety of the third dimension. My hopes and dreams and many things beyond that. I want to see people, my own heritage, be able to trade and live on like they weren't slaves. I still cower in the corner somewhat. I wait for something that may not happen. The future that I wait for, still, there is one that has corrupted many, I have dealt with him. But it is with regret that I accepted a title that is beyond me because of that. The title that I wished. I am more of someone who wishes justice rather than revenge. My past reflects on that. I still hope to see much more. Experience much more. What I really wish to experience is my kind being able to reach the stars, to be able to join the rest of our star race. To be able to rejoin my own twin flame. I miss her greatly. Now, as you probably saw from the picture, now this is something that I've specifically really, if not tried to literate and given you an example of. Try to bear with me. This is going to get very complex very quickly. Quantum mechanics and much more than that are very much up for debate in the scientific community among humankind. However, among star race, it isn't. Why? Because we've discovered it. We've explored and tinkered and... I think you get what I'm saying. Nonetheless, it is something that we've all had some experience with. Whether it is that we create or do something that, well, most humankind would do. Our minds are a link to other worlds, other paths, other parallels, other dimensions. Oh, the undoubtable possibilities. Because of this, humankind is the pinnacle of creation to some. Many species have said, oh, well, maybe we should try to exploit this. No. I've already stated it. Oh, one last little note. These amulets that I've got, one of them's Nordic. I know this is simple for Thor, Odin, protection charm that I got from Voodoo Shop. Yeah, I know it kind of sounds like Darkington a little bit, but there are certain ways to make these useful without disrupting it. You could purify them, you can turn them into something that you need, and this one
Well, I was looking for more of a tribal symbol, really, when I was walking about town during the festival. I saw this, and like, hey, that looks cool. And I had a little bit of a charm to it, that it's, well, I guess you could say it adds a little extra protection, and the symbol on it is really supposed to attract females. It works for me, I guess. This is Native American. I specifically like this myself, but this was actually given to me by a friend. She bought it for me. And, yeah. It has a purification rune on it. She does runes herself. It's supposed to keep your chakra flowing to a certain degree, but she purified it too much that her own chakra was flowing like, instead of like that. For me, it's just fine, because I have a very, 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 very active chakra flow. I just can't keep it going fast enough or slow enough or anything like that. So this really keeps things going. This, well, that's just a survival man. I just added this. I found this in the street one time. I don't know what kind of energy this has on it specifically, but I know its effects nonetheless. It has a certain, I don't know, I guess protection to it. Nevertheless, it has religious symbols on it, so that's, if you can see there. Nonetheless, it's spiritual. It's something I found when I was doing a little bit of something called a shaman walk or whatever that I called it at the time. Just going out, thinking a little bit, meditating, keeping my energy flowing, that sort of thing. Nonetheless, it helped me clear my head. I found this on just walking about randomly, and I haven't really taken it off since. Well, goodbye for good, or this time, or if you're going to reply to this, well, just try to be nice about it, please.